Whether we like it or not, we all experience horror in some way, shape, or form. After all, it is the oldest and the strongest emotion of mankind. Anything and everything could be scary for all kinds of people. You might be afraid of the dark, afraid of spiders, insects, home invaders. You might be afraid of death or dying, or maybe you're afraid of getting cancer, or maybe you're simply afraid of the next month's energy bill. Different kinds of triggers scare us in our daily lives, most of the time without even us noticing. Our fears shape us and grow us to turn into the people that we are today. Your fear of going to jail is probably stopping you from ripping the head off of that one colleague. Or perhaps your fear of getting stabbed is stopping you from venturing into dark alleys, or maybe your fear of what's lurking in the dark is preventing you from turning the hallway lights off when you go to bed. When these fears are realized in our lives, they're legitimately scary, and I don't think anybody enjoys them on a genuine level except a few extreme cases. I don't think anybody would enjoy being thrown into a well crawling with centipedes, for example. I certainly wouldn't. But would I watch a movie scene featuring that exact scenario? Absolutely I would. Today's video topic is about this. Why do we like horror when inherently it's supposed to be the most negative feeling that we should have? It feels like an error in our code. How did we get here? Why do we enjoy horror films, horror books, horror games, or any other horror media in general? Why do each of us have a different threshold when it comes to how much horror we can take? Why do some of us soil their pants after a jump scare while others are unfazed? Well, let me start by introducing myself first. My name is Urjan and I am a horror enthusiast. I run the horror games community on Twitter where I signal boost, curate, and spread the word about unique horror games and or games with horror elements. I've been enjoying horror media since I was a very little kid when my father first sat me down to watch the original Alien together at the age of 6. Throughout my years of enjoying this genre, I always thought about the potential reason why I might be enjoying horror so much. Why does horror give me so much pleasure? Why does it reflect in my art, my clothing, my behavior, or even the people I let into my life? Since you're watching this video, chances are you also feel the same way about horror and always wondered why. First, we gotta look into it on a really basic scientific level. Horror has an effect on your body that you can usually observe pretty easily, much like any other prominent emotion you might be feeling, be it happiness, sadness, or even pity. Horror gives you a rush, it awakens your panic sensors, it pushes you into a fight or flight state. Horror is cathartic. At the end of the day, while your body may sound like it's a complicated system, it's actually wired together in a pretty simple way. The rush of horror that you feel is very similar to happiness. These two emotions send similar signals to your brain. It's why your brain likes adrenaline. We all get that adrenaline from different sources, but we do get it. We crave it. Think about it. Why do we love going on roller coaster rides or bungee jumping while we don't love having a car crash? Both give us adrenaline. Well, that's because the first two are conducted in a controlled environment. They're safe. You know for a fact that the safety belt on that roller coaster ride is going to protect you from flying off for miles, or the bungee jumping trainer will make sure that your harness is securely fastened so you don't splatter your brain on the ground. You have control over this situation. Your brain stops thinking about the unsafe nature of the activity and only leaves room for adrenaline. See, when it comes to adrenaline, your body usually fights it with its natural need for safety. It is at the end of the day what we as humans crave the most. Above all else, we want safety. When half of your body and brain wants adrenaline, the other half is going to fight that want with another want that is safety. That's why even though those roller coaster rides have seatbelts proven to be really secure, some people still don't want to go on those rides because they don't have full control of the situation. I am one of those people, for example. No matter how safe they tell me it is, I would rather stay on the ground than trust an engineer who probably meticulously designed the thing to be safe in the first place. I am scared of the what if scenario. I'm scared of the idea of putting my life in another person's hands. That's also why when I'm swimming in the ocean, I want to turn back after I am unable to see the ocean floor. Chances are there is nothing in there other than the depth, but I am still scared of that what if scenario. My safety need comes off stronger than my adrenaline need. A similar thing happens to people who are afraid of going on flights. What if the airplane malfunctions and crashes? What if this? What if that? See, these what if scenarios are basically our body's way of trying to provide safety at the face of danger and or adrenaline. It is our reason, logic trying to stop us from doing something stupid, something that might kill us. When we do these things in a controlled environment though, that what if scenario completely disappears along with our anxiety about the situation, leaving room only for pleasure coming from that same sense of dread. This is where horror media enters the picture. Horror media gives us the opportunity to enjoy the same or at least a similar amount of adrenaline that we would normally only get from real life events, with the danger element being completely out of the picture. This is why you perhaps don't like camping in the woods at the dead of night, but you love the Blair Witch Project. Or maybe you hate the idea of getting trapped in somebody's basement, but you love watching the Saw movies. You still get that dread, the adrenaline, and the horror while feeling safe at your home or at your cinema seat. This is also why we enjoy going to horror-themed escape rooms with a bunch of friends. It is scary, we're trapped, but essentially we know that we are safe in a controlled environment. As soon as we press the panic button or say the safe word, somebody will open the door and let us out. Same thing goes for horror books, horror games, and all the horror media. As long as it's conducted in a controlled environment, your body will feel safe and leave room only for pleasure in the face of that artificial danger. Okay, so this was the pseudo-scientific reason that we enjoy horror, but is that the only reason? Well, of course not. You can like horror for a multitude of reasons. For example, the first ever literary horror work, Castle Otranto, was written by Horace Walpole in 1764. It was the first gothic novel known to man, and pretty much anything and everything we experienced in horror media ever since then has been some kind of a derivation of it in some shape or form. Gothic is closely related with Romanticism. In fact, the Gothic era of classic literature is also called the pre-Romanticism era. Correlated to this, you might simply enjoy horror for its aesthetics, which is inherently what we call Gothic. I probably don't need to sit down and explain to you what Gothic is, but it was basically created in that same pre-Romanticism era where most literary work written were stemmed from melancholy, a close curiosity towards death, and obviously Gothic architecture that you would mostly see at graveyards, cathedrals, castles, and churches. The Gothic culture didn't just appear out of thin air and one day we decided to wear all black, no. It is simply a derivative of Gothic literature from centuries ago. Much like how somebody would be into the color blue without any other reason, you might be into the color pink. While somebody else might be into cutesy, fun aesthetics, you might be into the opposite, dark and gloomy aesthetics. Or you may simply be into both. It all boils down to who you are and how life shaped you as a person. Horror, much like any other genre, is a tool that we use to express ourselves. We use it in our clothing, the tattoos we get, the hairstyles we pick, the color of nail polish that we use, or simply the people we choose to let into our lives. We simply enjoy the horror aesthetic and try to give it a place in our lives as much as we can. It is simply how we express ourselves, nothing more, nothing less. Whenever someone asks you why you like horror, sure, you can tell them what I explained in the first half of this video, but you can also tell them that you simply just like it because of what it is. You don't need any other reason. Similarly, horror can also be a defense mechanism that we can use as a tool. Without sounding too arrogant or prejudiced, I always notice that people who enjoy horror on a deeper level are also more emotional. There are tons of people who suffer from depression, mental problems, a problematic childhood, an abusive relationship or a family, parent issues, body dysmorphia, and many more that I can't simply count. While I don't have any scientific data to prove this at the moment, personally I always notice that people with similar problems like I mentioned tend to enjoy horror on a deeper level. I guess the safety and the controlled feeling of horror makes us feel a worse kind of dread in a bubble and makes us feel safe throughout the duration of whatever that horror media is that we're consuming. It is a safe harbor that we can simply go and relax. You're gonna ask, how is watching somebody's head getting eaten by a zombie is anywhere near relaxing? Well, remember how I mentioned the body's need for adrenaline and its need for safety always clashes? Consuming horror media makes it so that we can turn off those safety sensors for at least a little bit and enjoy the moment for what it is. It scratches a certain point in our brains that help us feel safe by numbing that point. It's like using anesthesia for brain's panic sensors. Like I said, this is not scientific at all, but as someone who battled and still battles with severe depression, body dysmorphia, and a bunch of other problems, while also knowing other people who have similar issues, this is the verdict that I came to. Horror makes us feel safe. And similarly, horror is also a community. It's millions of people with similar tastes simply coming together to enjoy the simple dread of horror and to feel safe under its umbrella. Horror is manly, it's feminine, it's queer, it's inviting, and most importantly, it's human. No matter who you are, where you're from, what you believe in, horror is always inside you, and it is what connects us all together. While sure, horror community does have some bigots here and there, most of the horror enthusiasts I've seen have been lighthearted, good people who simply enjoy things and accept people for what they are, who they are. Horror fans like me might seem scary and gloomy from the outside, but like I said, most of us horror enthusiasts are essentially emotional people. Another reason why horror might be so attractive for a lot of people like me and you is the curiosity factor, the unknown. Horror doesn't hit the same way it does when the audience knows about everything that has been and that's gonna happen. Fear of the unknown has always been one of humanity's more prominent horrors. That's why we still endlessly praise H.P. Lovecraft's literary works, and we keep using those works as inspiration. Horror goes hand in hand with mystery in almost all scenarios. A satanic puzzle, a mysterious cult, the truth behind the haunted church, the source of aliens, the secret motives of a serial killer, anything goes. Theorizing about the horror elements and trying to crack the mystery without the horror media giving us all the answers turns the already adrenaline-inducing experience into a more interactive one. This is also why you will see a lot of horror media leaving most questions unanswered so they can have more room for the audience to imagine all the possible scenarios and create theories about them. To this day, people still talk about what might have happened after John Carpenter's The Thing, what happened at the end of the Blair Witch Project, or how the old gods from H.P. Lovecraft's mythos can possibly exist in real life. As long as the mystery factor exists, horror will always have a dedicated audience trying to crack its secrets. My friends, this and possibly many others are why I think we love horror. I hope this video resonated with you and helped you understand why you and I love horror so much. It is not simply because we're sickos, psychopaths, or evil people. It is because we are molded in a way to enjoy this kind of entertainment. It is the safety that we can't normally find in other places. It is how we express ourselves. Horror is for everybody, it's in all colors, and it will forever feed on your curiosity. Thank you all for watching this video and going on this hopefully comforting journey together. I highly encourage you to join the horror games community if you're using Twitter, or you can also find me in other places. I have the Horror Games Community Showcase coming up pretty soon, where I will showcase more than 50 indie horror game trailers to give you a taste of what's to come in near future. I hope you will be interested to check it out. I will leave all my links below. Please subscribe if you haven't, I'm getting close to 5k. Leave a like and maybe tell me why you love horror so much in the comments below. Again, thank you all for watching and please take good care of yourself. I will see you on the next one.